You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White sports supporters, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. We got an update. It looks like potentially on Shedeur Sanders playing. So if you're rooting for him playing for the Browns, that time may be approaching. It certainly sounds like he's putting in some time, putting in some work. And there has also been an article written by Tyler Dunn of Go Long, which is he's done some really good, deep investigative work involving NFL teams. And he has dropped a bombshell about the fact that the Browns and Jimmy Haslam, clown show owner deluxe, boy, he made an unwise choice that has you where you're at right now at 10-19 on 2025. Yeah, not hiring the right coach. Boy, the Lions got the right coach. They got the right coach. Hell, let's start here. Let's just do it. Why the Browns reportedly passed on hiring Dan Campbell. Oh, my God. It's crazy. By the way, there's been notable mess-ups in hiring. Not just with the Browns, but like, I think the Cowboys should have looked at Dan Campbell. He played there, right? Was a Parcells guy. I think they should have hired Sean Payton when they had the chance. There's a lot of teams floating around out there that have made some gargantuan bad hiring decisions. But I got to be honest with you. As of this second, offensively, Brian Schottenheimer looks like a better coach than Kevin Stefanski. Say that out loud. Nobody was even glancing at Brian Schottenheimer. Dan Campbell ultimately wasn't hired by the Browns, seemingly due in part to owner Jimmy Haslam. As reported by Tyler Dunn of Go Long, quote, "It was awesome, and I mean awesome." A source told Dunn of Campbell's Browns interview. But Dan said, quote, "I want to be a tough team and run the ball because that's what the old football guys would do. That doesn't mean you're not going to pass. But Jimmy was so much, I don't want to say brainwashed, but under the influence of what the analytics say and how passing is so much more important than running, it was almost like he dismissed him after that statement." Quote, "I don't know that he did, but that's what it felt like." While Dunn's report admittedly hedges pretty heavily at the end there, it seems like Haslam had an idea in mind for exactly what kind of coach he was looking for, and Campbell didn't exactly fit the mold philosophically. The Browns eventually promoted Freddie Kitchens. Yikes. Yikes. Can you imagine? What if the Browns hired Dan Campbell's scenario is made even more painful by the fact that Baker Mayfield, the MVP candidate for the Buccaneers in 2025, was in just his second season then. Yeah, and look what Jared Goff looks like with Dan Campbell. We're finding out that wasn't all Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's gone. People don't realize Dan Campbell is actually a really good offensive guy. All right? He was a tight end. He knows all about formations. The whole nine. All of it. I mean, Dan Campbell probably could have been an offensive coordinator. That's something we don't talk about enough. And it's reflecting right now. You're seeing it. On the Lions. Wow, that's crazy. Andrew Berry, Jimmy Haslam, analytics. Wow. It's crazy. It's not good. You can't explain that away. So, Mary Kay Cabot, by the way, was asked if Shedeur Sanders might end up playing. This is what she said. Mary Kay Cabot believes his time is coming. Quote, Sanders has been working on every aspect of his game, from throwing out of the shotgun and under center to play action to his footwork and everything else to be prepared to play when his number is called. He also worked on RPOs, keepers, and other QB movement skills because those are such a big part of the Browns' offense. Myles Garrett also recently revealed that he sees Sanders working with Kevin Stefanski in his office in the early morning hours, which means he's putting in extra work, Cabot added. It's showing up on the practice field, okay? And the Browns are eager to see what he can do this season when the time comes. For seemingly the first time this season, a Browns insider has released a positive update in regards to Sanders' chances as a starter. The Browns will give Dillon Gabriel a decent on-ramp, but there will probably become a time in the second half of the season where the Browns will want to see Sanders play. They're confident he'll be ready. Wouldn't that be hell? I know a lot of fans want Stefanski out. Sanders comes in, balls out, and Stefanski keeps his job. Woo! That'd be interesting. Look, that's what you want to hear. It's a good sign when you hear he's in their early morning hours in Stefanski's office. They're plotting. And that also shits on the theory that Stefanski may not want to give him a chance. It does also lend some validity to the fact that, remember, Stefanski said during the presser, I am trying to work with him so he will be ready. All right? Now, the problem Stefanski's got is Joe Flacco. Now, I mean, he owns, look, the Browns are devoid of weapons. That's one reason why Flacco didn't look the way he did in 2023 versus the way he looked this year. He goes to the Bengals, they got weapons everywhere. We know that. But nonetheless, Flacco looked inept in Kevin Stefanski's offense this time around. Why that was, I don't know. I know one thing, the offense is a bunch of let's throw it to the check downs. Let's throw it to the running back in the flat. You couldn't get a less of a downfield attack, which is nuts when you consider Flacco has a cannon on him, and he showed it the other night. Damn, by the way, Aaron Rodgers threw a ball 70 yards in the air. Longest pass in years in the National Football League in the air. That old man still got an arm, too. Dan Campbell and Baker Mayfield, two of my favorite dudes in the NFL, could have been the tandem in Cleveland. But Jimmy Haslam, clown hair and all, Bozo the Clown shoes and all, didn't think Dan Campbell, no, I don't like that philosophy. Winning? Nah, I'm not doing that. We're not doing no winning here. Let me, am I going nuts? Nick Chubb was on the team then. Dan Campbell, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield. Would y'all be the favorites every year now for the AFC North? The Browns. I'm talking to Browns fans. Run the ball, time of possession. Baker Mayfield, play action passes. Shit, forget about it. Forget about it. Wow. God, poor Browns fan. I've said this prior. Browns fans are great. They're in hell, though. You know? They're in hell. They're watching their former quarterback literally be the leading contender for the most valuable player award. He has thrown, if I'm doing math, I'm trying to think of how many touchdowns Baker's got this year so far. I think 12. So he has thrown 80, 92 touchdowns in the last 2 years and 6 games. Yikes. That's a lot of touchdowns. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.